Drinking and boats don't mix. We had no business driving that boat anywhere. There was no navigation hooked up. There was nothing. I guess I drank a little bit too much. I decided to lay down. The next thing I remember, I'm being woken up to a bomb blowing up on the boat.
Two different locations. A lot of drama last night about what happened with him and his father. His father's missing from the boat. We'll get out there, we got a search pattern, we'll start looking for him, and we can go from there.
The call came in that a boat was taking on water, and the weather is actually really, really bad. There are close to 50-knot gusts, upwards of 70 knots at times, which in normal case could be construed as a hurricane.
Rotor. No.
The 60 is capable of flying in just about anything. It is risky, however, it is completely within the capabilities of the crew and the helicopter, and the very high gain. There is a chance that we can actually save somebody's life.
Crew 4 ready for takeoff. Ready for takeoff.
The vast Alaskan wilderness, a place where beauty is cloaked by danger. Here, every day, the highly trained men and women of the U.S. Coast Guard risk their lives to save others. America's deadliest waters are protected by Coast Guard Alaska.
All right, coming up.
We had bits and pieces of information. One, that there was 2 people, and one of the people was missing. We got 2 different positions. The person's cell phone, we got GPS position off that, and then the boat's actual transponder position.
Did you say how far offshore the boat was? No, but he said he's looking at the boat from shore. Oh, he's on a cell phone? Yep. He's been talking to the sheriff. That's how this whole story got out. I'll be on scene in about 4 minutes. Roger.
We do know that there's one person who has been talking to 911 operator on a cell phone. So he has told us that he is actually on shore and can see his boat in the water, which means 2 things to us. 1, he's not in any danger of drowning, and 2, the boat, if he can still see it, hasn't sunk yet.
All right, we're in the search area, guys. Keep an eye out. So let's just search starting on this shoreline all the way to this point. We're down 200 feet. It's gonna be bumpy over here. We got wind right off our tail. Roger.
During the search, the winds were extremely heavy. At times, we were doing 180 knots over the ground, simply because the winds were blowing 70 knots and we just couldn't slow down.
We're getting close here to the last reported position via GPS. He may have been hiding in the trees or something, so let's cruise by slower. Didn't see a boat though. Yeah, I don't see a boat either. Boat should be more visible if it's still afloat at all. Let's go right back to that shoreline for one more sweep past. Marking the IR camera back here. Right. Cool.
Swimmer was using the camera. Pilots in front were using the great visibility they have. All I had to search from was my point of view, which was the cabin door window, which is not a very good view, really, especially when it's covered in rain and you're really looking through it and you can't see anything. But you're trying, nonetheless, trying to find anything.
That's a boat right there? Yeah. Could be your Huckleberry, maybe. Looks like it's recent. It's kind of off my nose. All right, got the guy right out of the boat.
The winds were upwards of 70 knots at times. Trying to do a hoist in those conditions would be extremely challenging. And at that time, the tide was out, and we had a very large, flat beach that we can land on.
Don't come too far left. Fly off cabin door speed. You got cabin door speed. We got that. All right. Looks good here, sir. Watch the waves there. We're clear of the wave action. Okay, park and brake. Want both of us to go out? Yeah. Sure. Cover each other there. All right, I'll go with.
Walked up to the boat. He was very terrified. He had spent the night out there by himself.
While talking to the survivor, I realized there was another survivor out there somewhere that was no longer on the vessel. So we went ahead and escorted him back to the helicopter.
He was very scared because the person that was missing was actually his father, and he wasn't sure where he was. The first thing we want to do is pick up the survivor we have now, get him to higher level care, and then come back out and search for the missing father.
So he saw his dad jump off the boat and run into the woods?
Yes.
And when was that? Yesterday?
That was yesterday.
Where did he say the exact point was that the dad ran into the woods, though?
There's a point if you pull up and turn around.
You visually can point it out?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see that point at least and mark it.
Ready for takeoff.
Take it back to Cordova and then come back out.
Yeah. After that, we gotta go find his dad.
My father came up to Alaska. I've never really known him, and he said he wanted to come up here, so I told him to come and let me get to know you and show you around. We were drinking on Father's Day. I laid down to just rest my eyes for a second. I guess I passed out, and I was woken by a seal bomb blowing up in my bed. I guess I was angry and I went after him, and I believe I tried to take over the helm, and then he choked me.
Anchor for ready for approach.
Ready for approach.
At some point, I realized that the boat was getting closer to shore. I was being pushed in by the waves, and the tide went out and left the boat stranded on the beach. I was extremely upset, so I told him to get off the boat. He did, not knowing where we were.
Liaison pilot, George Mezzi. Nice to meet you. I'm glad you're okay. Heard you had a little trouble with your dad yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I told him to get off the boat. I didn't know where I was. Blew up the boat, like threw a seal bomb at me.
You believe somewhere near that location when he left the boat? Okay.
Once we got him back to Cordova, was pretty distressed. He was worried about his father, didn't know where he was, didn't know if he was alive at all.
I shouldn't have told him to get off the boat.
We got the survivor to give us a general idea of where he went into the woods, but in bad weather, pinpointing a location is very difficult.
Ready for takeoff.
Ready for takeoff.
Let's go find Daddy Dearest.
The second survivor was on shore somewhere in the woods. While we were launching, the weather progressively got worse.
So, black pants, black jacket.
Yeah.
He's got brown boots on.
Right, I heard that.
He's just a little bit taller than that kid, and he's got facial hair.
I'm wearing a black sweatshirt and black sweatpants. And in those kind of conditions was like camouflage, really. So it was like, this is gonna be awesome to try to find this guy.
Wind is kicking my ass.
Yeah. Hopefully, his dad's got some survival skills.
He's ex-military.
Okay. And we'll just keep following the shoreline.
So, Father's Day, the call came in that a boat was taking on water. We proceeded to fly along the shore until we actually found a boat high and dry. After we located the survivor and picked him up off of his vessel, he indicated that his father was in the area also. We flew back out to the boat, checked the boat again to make sure that the father hadn't been able to make it back to the boat. Usually it's the first place we'll look, is where we found one. We may find another one. Unfortunately, he wasn't there.
We're also looking for a body here, guys.
Roger.
They say that with the currents and stuff, it should have washed up on shore. We're down 200 feet. Roger.
Rounding the corner on Hinchinbrook Island, we have cabins marked on the charts. Typically, those cabins are uninhabited cabins. They may be Forest Service cabins, they may be seasonally used cabins, and those places are good for lost hikers.
I got a good visual on it. Maybe, just maybe. Something out there ahead.
We flew by one of the cabins, and a number of people came out and started waving at us. I noticed a gentleman was matching the description of the father that we were looking for. Again, there was a safe place for us to land on the beach, and it turns out that it was the father. He had walked into the cabin about 20 minutes before we had gotten there, told us that he had been out all night, had spent the night in a cave. In fact, he had heard us flying by the night before from his cave, but was unable to go out and flag us down simply because the weather was too bad and the tide was coming in. He was a little hesitant, a little scared of being injured.
Ready for takeoff.
Ready for takeoff.
I was worried that they were gonna find my father deceased. I'm very thankful that he's alive. But I'm very disappointed. It's very irresponsible walking into the wilderness that he had no idea about. I had to wait overnight for the next tide to come in. I started motoring the boat back to town and it began to take on water. 600 to 700 gallons of water in the boat. First thing I did was grabbed a bucket and started bailing water out of the boat. You think you know yourself until you get in a situation like that, and I almost gave up at one point. I was so tired. There was some really bad weather out there. I was taking waves over the top of the boat, and the boat was sideways. There was water everywhere. I was terrified. Never had to have my life saved, and the Coast Guard, they're like angels. They just came out of nowhere and they saved my life, and I'm very grateful.
Hoist check's complete. You can secure hoist fire. All right, Dave, you got everything you need? You know what it is?
Fish hook in the eye, 70-year-old male.
Yep. Cool. We're bringing him back to here.
Okay. Wait, what just happened?
So normal duty day, we start off on our morning flight. We're getting ready to go.
And rotor.
All right, here we go. Clear all the way around.
And I heard the pilots talking about going to get somebody somewhere. It was kind of cool, we were already starting up. You want to talk about response time, we were already there, good to go.
So I missed all that. What's going on right now? 70-year-old male with a fish hook in his eye. From an anchored fishing vessel.
What's our flight time there look like?
About 45 minutes.
Okay.
All right, chalks.
Remove.
Go for ready for taxi.
Ready for taxi.
With the severity of his injury, with the fish hook hanging out of his eye, you want to get that guy off that boat and to the hospital as fast as you can. You can't just sit around on a dirty fishing boat with a fish hook hanging out of your eye, hoping that it's going to work out for the best for you on a 9-hour boat ride back to port. So this guy needed attention, and he needed it fast, and we're there to do that.
Sector Rescue 3A, we request any and all information regarding the medevac case. Over.
Rescue 3A, Sector Roger, 70-year-old male. Apparently he was pulling up gear and the hook popped out and into his eye.
Sector Rescue 3, that's a good copy.
So for this one, we knew that it was, I think, about a 37-foot fishing vessel that we were going to, and an older gentleman that had a fish hook stuck in his eye. We didn't know which part of the eye or how deeply embedded it was. So we kind of discussed his condition, how badly hurt he might be, whether or not we could hoist from a vessel. Fishing vessels are always tricky to hoist from.
It's a 37-foot boat, so it's freaking tiny. Take a look at it when we get there and come up with a plan, guys. Guys got any ideas? Feel free to jump in. It might be one of those where you just gotta have them jump in the water. Yeah, if I don't have to put them in the water, I don't want to put them in the water. Yeah. But it's an option.
Case that we're responding to is a fisherman who has a fishhook stuck in his eye. As we're flying to the scene, we discussed pretty much every possible scenario. Our main concern was putting me down on the boat versus putting me down in the water. Getting deployed to the water, you're limited on the gear that you can bring. So I went through the bag a couple times to make sure I had all the gear I would need and that the water wouldn't affect it in case I did have to do any dressings to his eye.
Got an idea how to bandage his eye. Pretty excited about trying it out. Got a Dixie cup? No, but something along those lines.
Typically, when someone has an object stuck in their eye, you want to secure the other eye so they're not looking around, moving around the eye with the object in it. In this case, it's fishhook. And then also lots of padding and gauze to pad around the fishhook and secure that so nothing accidentally bumps it.
I need to start wearing safety glasses when I go fishing.
Coast Guard, this is Highness Spear. You got a copy?
I got it. And Highness Spear, this is Coast Guard 06038. You have me?
Yeah, I got you. We just ran into a local fisherman on Lund that would be able to take them to the beach.
And Highness Spear, is the beach close by you? Is it flat? Do you think Eagle could land at that spot?
There is two big beaches. You got that?
Yeah, we got that. So if that's a possibility, if you can put him on in the line and run him to the shore, that'll probably be our safest bet. Stand by before we actually do that. We might put our swimmer down to climb on your vessel and dress the wound before we throw him in the boat and take him to the beach. I'll copy.
Copy.
All right, guys, so that's probably going to be our best bet. Put Dave down, let him jump on the boat, dress above, and then take him to shore, and we'll pick you guys up from shore. That'd be awesome. Just going to slow descending down to the water, get a clear shot to it now. Roger that. There's door speed right there. There's that cam doors coming over.
Once we got on scene, these guys had actually come around the bend a little bit and tucked back into a little cove on the backside of Noya's Island, which was protected and had a nice beach there as well.
Oh, yeah, beach. It is, boy. Right there to the right. Yeah, that beach looks funny right there, sir. Yep, that is a nice one. And I we got you guys in sight. What we're going to do is we're going to put our swimmer in the water. Next year, he's going to swim over, climb on your vessel, and then bandage him up before he makes the trip over. And then we'll pick you guys up from the beach from there.
Ladder is on the port side.
Ladder's on the port, you got it?
Yep.
We'll get Dave all set up, I'll get him hooked up to the hoist, and I'll call you from there. How's that?
All right, sounds good.
All right, bring us from the cabin door.
Roger.
Rescue check is complete, ready for one harness deployment of the rescue swimmer to the water from an altitude of 40 feet.
Roger, we're at 40 feet. Check swimmer.
Roger that, check the swimmer. Swimmer's ready. Swimmer's going outside for a load check.
Roger.
Swimmer's outside the cabin door. Swimmer's good, load check complete. Swimmer's going down. Swimmer's going down.
We sent our swimmer down. I hoisted Dave down in the water, right outside the boat, basically. He swam over. They had a ladder on board, so they just flipped it over the side of the boat. Dave was able to climb right on.
Go get him, Dave.
Swam to the boat, climbed up on the ladder, and the patient was sitting inside with a fishhook stuck in his eye.
What's your name? Clifton Carl Sr. Clifton? Clifton Carl Sr. All right, well, I'm Dave White. Get your bandage up here a little bit and then get you to Sitka.
There's the gentleman, and he has a large treble hook completely embedded in his eyeball. Something you don't see every day, but I went and did my patient assessment, talked to him, found out his pain level, which was surprisingly only a 5 out of 10.
Once you touch it, well, yes, sir. We're not touching it, but I was just trying to stabilize it. I don't think it's going to be good. I'm not even going to try to stabilize it or anything then. We'll just get you to shore.
He did not want me to touch it, so I wasn't going to touch it. And I pulled out all the gear I brought down, and I was going to try and pad around the hook, but it just wasn't going to work out there. It was going to end up covering his nose and his mouth. And I also had to transfer him from the large boat to the small boat, and then get him off the small boat, take him into the helicopter. He wasn't complaining about pain, so I decided to not put any dressings on his eye. And he said he could still use his good eye, so that was a major help in transferring the patient from vessel to vessel.
What does it look like? It looks gnarly. You're tough. You're tough.
And swimmer from the helo. I think this beach is big enough. We're just gonna land. So once you guys get to Lund on the beach, you guys can just walk in.
Roger that. Just a little concerned about the rotor watch in the space, but we'll see when we get there. Over.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine taking hooks to that. I'm taking hooks to the fingers of the toes. Oh, and don't it? God, it's terrible, man. And then it got infected because, of course, I caught fish with it already, so. Yeah. I'm sure this hook in his eye wasn't exactly clean.
Anyone on final, you ready for the approach of the back?
Ready for approach.
We got a call launching us on SAR for a gentleman that had a fish hook stuck in his eye. We got on scene and took a look, realizing that when we pulled into a hover next to him with the helicopter, we'd start pushing him right away. We decided here it was better for us to land first to minimize the rotor wash and then let the skiff make the approach afterwards.
Tail wheels 5 feet off deck, clear easy down. Tail wheels on deck, left on deck, and right is on deck. Hey, Cole, you want to run out? You can help them get in as they come. Yeah, coming off ice, yes. Roger.
The rotor wash from the helicopter is pretty intense, and on a sandy beach, that was also a concern. So I just gave him my rescue swimmer helmet to put over his face. That way it would cover both of his eyes, and it has some small slits in it he can see through. But it fully protected the fish hook as I brought him into the rotor wash and into the helicopter.
All right, so I'm gonna come up to a hover. I'll slide right and nose right, and we'll take off. All right, we're good back here, sir. All right, nose is gonna come right. Roger that, tail's clear. If you're in any major discomfort or anything I can do for you, let me know, okay?
Our flight back was about an hour long, and besides checking his vitals, there's really nothing we could do for him.
How'd it go, Dave? Really good. He said his pain level's about a 5. It's not too bad if he doesn't move it, you know? Yeah. But trying to bandage it was just going to take so much time and possibly further injure it, so I just left it. That makes sense.
You know, you want to help, you want to work on him, but then again, sometimes the best thing you can do is nothing.
Sector 38, we're airborne. Patient is in stable condition or en route. Sitka. Just want to make sure that we do have an ambulance waiting for us there when we land.
Rescue 38, Sector Roger, we'll be right on that.
As soon as we got him strapped into the seat, you know, I actually got to see the fish hook in the eye. It's hard. You want to help this guy, and it looked terrible. I hate to say that, but it was probably the grossest thing I've ever seen. I don't mean to be rude, but it was bad. So I'm glad we got to get him help. I'm glad we got him out of there. But my heart goes out to that guy. I hope he's doing really well.
All right, landing 29, the departure ends and taxiing off Alpha.
Crew 4 ready for the approach?
Ready for approach.
I hadn't heard anything as far as anything had changed with the patient's condition, just that hook was deeply embedded in his eye, but he was stable and seemed to be handling the pain really well. I think he's a pretty tough guy.
Doors coming over. Rider, secure checklist. Tail is locked. Parking brakes set. Track of beam. Off node.
There you go. I got it. You got it? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I get it. Thank you guys very much.
Yes, sir. I kind of can't believe how well he was doing, how his spirits were up. He was happy to be on his way to get some help.
Glad you guys came down and got me anyway.
Yeah,
sure
pleasure.
Appreciate it, yeah. After fishing over 50 years, this happened.
Yeah.
So you just never know.
Yep. Well, these are good guys. They'll take good care of you.
Hi. Morning.
Got a fishing injury, pretty obvious.
My name is Clifton Carl Sr. I live in Heidelberg, Alaska, and I've been fishing all my life. That day when I had the accident, we were out fishing. That one big king I had alongside the boat there pulled loose, and the treble hook came out of the king salmon's mouth. It went inside this sideways. So yeah, the doctors were amazed the way it went through my eyeball like that. My thoughts were making money because this is my living, and why did it have to happen to me? I wanted to sit down and cry, but I held back, and I didn't want to get stressed out, and I didn't want my crew to see how I was. I fished for 59 years, and I never thought that I'd ever need help like this. The doctors, they were just concerned about working on my eye to get it back where I could see again. I talked to my doctor just a few days ago, and he said everything is healing nice. I never ever thought that I would be on a Coast Guard helicopter, and there I was. I had to be medevaced quickly. If they didn't do it right away, I probably would have lost my eye.
Going hop down.
That's a nice harness.
Get your arms in there. How's that feel?
Tight.
Is it too tight?
Woo.
First time climbing of the year. She probably grew about 6 inches. Children tend to do.
Here's one of your climbing shoes.
Thanks, honey.
And I don't know where your other one is.
My name is Gwen, and my dad is David White.
All right, so now we're gonna load test it. You feel okay?
Today I'm gonna go rock climbing with my dad and my best friends.
It's scary. First time we did it, we were scared.
You were scared?
Well, they were scared. I wasn't scared. We're getting ready to hike up to the top of the climbing wall. We're gonna set up a top rope, and then we're gonna rappel down. All right, this is the spot. Here we are. Top roping is you start on top of your route you want to climb, and you set up your anchors on like a big tree like this, and people can just climb up and down it. Number one rule in survival, always look cool.
Come on, Daddy. Come down and safe.
All right, here we go.
Make sure you don't leave your wallet up there.
I don't care who you are. This is scary. Oh, baby.
Are you going down face first?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Whoa. All of a sudden, I look up, and there he comes, face first, heading down to the ground, no hands. I was a little nervous. Yay, Daddy!
I'm alive.
Go, Catherine.
When you're walking off the edge there to rappel down, you still get that adrenaline rush, and us as swimmers, like, we thrive on that, and if I can bring some of that to my family and help them feel alive for a little bit, it's a good day. All right, go ahead, honey.
When I'm climbing the wall, I feel brave and makes me feel happy when I go down because it's really fun.
Find a good handhold and then stand up. There you go.
Nice. Go, Gwen.
Being able to bring my family out here, especially the little girls, get to come out here and climb, it means the world to me, and to watch them experience their first climb in Alaska out on real rock. It's a great day. It's definitely a memory I'll remember forever. I'm proud of you. Good job.
Good job, Gwen. That was awesome.
Requirements tonight, guys. We're gonna head up to Haynes, pick up this woman, 79-year-old heart attack victim, symptoms about 2 hours ago. Basically a 6-hour window to get her to a higher level of care to save the heart tissue.
So we just got a call from D17 that a woman's had a heart attack up in Haines. It's about 150 plus miles away from here. If she can get a medevac out of Haines to a higher level of care in Anchorage or Seattle.
So we'll land in Juneau, we'll do a ramp to ramp. Weather here is terrible, snow showers, freezing mist, and then it gets quite a bit worse once we get down to Juneau. So the forecast for both Juneau and here is basically down to 0-0. Cool.
My first concern is with the weather as bad as it is, both here departing and then in Juneau where we're going to be landing, is whether this case has to happen right now. So we just got a call that a woman's had a heart attack. My first concern is with the weather as bad as it is whether this case has to happen right now. If I can go at first light, if I can wait till the snow stops falling, I would much prefer to prosecute the case then. According to the flight surgeon, though, her time window is relatively small, so he's recommending that we go now.
How do you want to assemble the litter and stuff?
I'm going to assemble it when we're en route there. That's why I moved the cabin like this.
Good to go?
Travis and I looked over the plane. Cabin's reconfigured and good to go.
Okay.
Up here in Southeast Alaska, the Coast Guard's kind of the last line of defense when it comes to medevacing patients, especially with the bad weather we have. A lot of times you can't get the private medical services to be able to fly into the airports like Haines when the weather's bad.
Doctor, move.
Roger that. Roger. Before takeoff, Nicholas Cooper, ready for takeoff?
Ready for takeoff. And Coast Guard Sector Juneau, Coast Guard Sector Juneau from Coast Guard Rescue 6025.
6025, this is Sector Juneau 16. I have you loud and clear. 16, over.
And Sector from 25, be advised, we're airborne at this time out of airspace Sitka en route to Haines.
When we take off from Sitka, the weather's terrible. You lift up and you're immediately on instruments. You kind of buckle down, you're in the aircraft, there's nothing to see outside. We didn't have visibility with the water. It's just snow coming at you.
Right now we have a 25 knot tailwind. It's gonna be a little chop, guys. It's gonna be a little choppy all the way up there.
Roger that, sir. Sir, how's your visibility out the front?
It is snowing hard. Visibility's a mile on goggles, and hard to tell what the ceilings are.
Flying in those kind of conditions, you're just trusting that the aircraft is doing what it needs to do, and so you're double checking on the charts and watching the radar and the moving map just to make sure that you know where you are without being able to see outside.
Watch me on this. Roger, you coming left or? No, I'm not visual at all. Roger that.
We were passed by district that it was an active cardiac. So heart attacks can change literally in the blink of an eye. They can go, a stable patient can change to a critical patient. If there's any kind of blockage, they're gonna wanna send the patient to a higher level of care. There's a limited window of time that you have to do this.
Coming on. Got some flights to town up ahead.
Yeah, it was like white out up there.
Yeah.
We knew taking off when we looked at the weather, even though Sitka and Juneau looked pretty terrible, Haines was actually a bright spot. The last 10 or 15 miles before we got to Haines, it actually cleared up a little bit. We were able to fly into there visually.
Travis, I need you out the door.
Okay.
It's going to be a little difficult with being dark. So what we want is, as we're coming down, if there's snow on the runway,
we're going to blow it.
It's going to start forming behind us.
Cool. All right.
Being that this was my first SAR case anywhere in the Coast Guard, the weather was extreme. We get cabin door speed, we open up the cabin door, we're looking to see if there's snow on the ground.
And crew board ready for approach.
Ready for approach.
Roger. Yeah, pretty good vision on the runway.
In Haines, the conditions were fine. It was windy, but there wasn't much snow or anything, so my job was pretty easy there.
There's the ambulance coming forward to you. All right. But definitely wear your tracks out.
Roger that, sir.
Especially the cloud. It's going to be a little slick when you hit the snow.
Correct, sir. Stand by.
The ambulance met us at the runway, and we were able to talk with the doc and a nurse, and they filled us in on her condition. So I'm seeing the patient, and she's comfortable. They had pushed several medications that had relieved her pain, and she was on oxygen, and she had an IV in place. And I mean, overall, she looked pretty comfortable, and she looked stable. So my main concern in the back would be just keep monitoring the patient and make sure that she doesn't deteriorate between Haynes and Juneau.
We're all set back here. And sector rescue 6025 up. And we are inbound to Juneau. 25 sector Roger, airborne at this time.
During the flight, we were reassessing with the patient how she's feeling, and we're also just checking her pulse and SpO2 to make sure that they're within normal limits. And we're just talking to her constantly, making sure she's doing okay.
How's everybody doing back there?
Well, she's super comfortable and everything. She's looking like a rock star. She's coherent and talking to us.
Okay, roger that.
Maybe just confirm with sector that we're going to beat Juneau EMS. The doctor, Haynes, is pretty adamant about trying to get her up to Anchorage as soon as possible.
Okay, yeah, the plan right now is ramp to ramp.
Okay, roger that, sir. Sounds good.
We had a pretty nice tailwind, so we got to Juneau pretty quickly. But once we got into the Juneau area, the visibility dropped, the snow showers increased, and we were trying to fight our way into the airport.
I'm gonna come down to 300 now. I'm not visual at all. Roger that. I have one little light down there. I don't know what the heck it is.
We thought we were gonna see land, we didn't see land. We were looking for lights, we were looking for anything. We were looking for trees, so you're hoping you'll see the trees before the trees see you.
I can't even see the water. Yeah, I don't see anything. I'm gonna come down to 300 now. I'm not visual at all. Roger that.
We're responding to a medevac of a late 70-year-old patient who had a heart attack. We had a good transport of the patient to the helicopter, but once we made our approach to Juneau, the weather really rolled in on us, and we had a hard time getting into Juneau.
I can't even see the water. Yeah, I don't see anything. Roger. Coming down. Roger.
We come down, we get to about 90 or 80 feet. And again, we have 50 knots behind us, pushing us into the land in front of us. Pretty uneasy feeling as the radar is painting land getting closer and closer and we can't see it. So I tell Chris I'm gonna head back out and set up for a second match.
We're gonna attempt this again. We got to outer point. We didn't have any visibility. We're gonna try to come back in. All right, I got the water now. I just don't have, I mean, there should be tons of lights off the right side right now. I see like one light out there, but it's pretty foggy.
You know, we're flying with, the varsity team, the best of the best. And, to hear the pilot say that, we missed an approach and we're going to go around and try again, it raises the hair on your neck a little bit. But, you just remain calm and keep your patient happy and have trust in the aircrew that we're going to be able to land safely.
Yeah, the thing that sucks is we got like a 30-knot tailwind pushing us into the cliff.
While it's obviously a medevac and that's our primary job, at this point, my concern is getting the aircraft down on the ground in one piece. So we have one more shot to get into Juneau to try to find land.
Let me know when I got door speed. Yeah, door speed. Roger that, sir. Dude, what the?
We didn't see the airport until we were pretty much right on top of it. And as we were making our approach on the taxiway, we overflew a snowplow pretty closely.
What, snowplow? Yeah.
Came around the second time, looking down, knowing that those guys are relying on me to make sure that the plane comes down safely on level ground. And if it doesn't, to make sure that we get airborne before we get a whiteout.
And I still have good visibility.
As we get closer to the runway, we're start picking up the high-intensity lights. And at that point, I know runway's in sight, and the hard part's over.
And we're on
First helicopter ride?
Yes, this is the first one.
Oh, man, you picked the
worst weather to make through this.
So our original plan was to land in Juneau, take her directly off of our aircraft and put her onto a jet and get her up to Anchorage. Because the weather had rolled in and it was so bad, even the jet that was supposed to fly out and take her up to Anchorage was shut down. They weren't going to be able to fly. So we had Juneau EMS meet us at the airport and pick up our patient.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Okay. Any chest pain or anything like that?
Not right now.
All right. Here comes Dave.
All right, Helen, you ready to go?
Yes.
So I'm here with Juneau EMS, and they're gonna take care of you for the rest of the night, okay?
Thank you, guys.
Oh, you're very welcome, ma'am.
78-year-old lady with a heart attack. I thought of my grandmother when we loaded her up and looking at the weather, and that's just what we do here. I mean, Sitka's known for this weather. We know what we get into when we ask to come up here, and a lot of guys ask to come up here, so.
All right, guys. That was the sweetest old lady I've ever met in my entire life.
Well, good, because she almost just cost us all our lives. We couldn't see the brightest runway lights at a mile.
It was a tough night. I've been flying for 8 years now for the Coast Guard, and the combination of the terrain, the visibility, that all just made that probably one of the worst endings of a flight that I've had.
My name is Louise Smith. I live in Haines, Alaska. I was born and raised here and raised my family here. My chest started to hurt and I thought maybe I had pulled a muscle, but then it went to start going into my upper arm. My daughter was here, and so she wanted me to go to the clinic. The doctor on call says, "You are having a heart attack." I was told that they were trying to get a medevac in to get me to Anchorage. The doctors here, they're very good doctors, but they're more like family practice type. They have specialists in those other cities. The weather was pretty bad, so I was just lucky that the Coast Guard made it in. They put me in the ambulance and took me to the hospital, and the next morning then the Guardian and flew me to Anchorage. And they told me that one of the arteries was completely blocked and that I had to have stents put in. It's not like we can jump into a car and go to a big hospital to get help. The Coast Guard is our lifeline. It's just lucky for us that there are people like that, because they're putting their life on the line to go rescue somebody.